Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Today's video I'm going to be sharing with you how I get the best quality of footage from this device. This is the Insta360 GO 3S. I've been making a couple of videos on this in the past few days or weeks. My last couple of videos have been on this device. This video is actually being made in response to a comment on my last video where somebody said, "That's a really crisp shot from the 3S compared to other videos I've watched. What setting did you use? Did you use a preset while editing? The clarity of the shots look really great." That comment makes me happy, makes me feel like the quality of the videos that I'm producing on this channel, especially recently with this device, quality is good. You know, it's just one comment, but hey, we take what we get. This video is really just to show anybody out there who uses the Insta360 GO 3S to vlog or to create content, sharing with you my settings for getting the best out of this camera based on my understanding of this device, and also how I process the images, the apps I use, the software I use to process the images or the footage to get the best quality. And I'll be doing a commentary while I show you my screen to show you how I work with the footage from this device. So I hope this video is useful to somebody out there. I'll try to keep it short, and I'll be dropping an additional bonus tip for getting the best out of this device at the end of the video. So please stay till the end of the video and watch to the end. Let's get into the video. Okay guys, so first I'm just going to put on the device, show you the settings that I use most commonly to shoot on this camera. Let's go first of all to the image quality. So first of all, I shoot at 4K 30 frames per second, which is the maximum resolution that this device is able to shoot at. There are other ones, the 2.7K 1080p. I don't even bother with those. I just go straight for the max, the best. The next thing to look at is the type of video. So I'm using FreeFrame video. This FreeFrame video gives you the whole sensor basically, and the good thing about it is that you can apply flow state stabilization and adjust aspect ratio and horizon lock in post via the app, either on your mobile phone or iPad or on the desktop studio app, which we're going to see. There are other settings. There's a video, photo, HDR photo, blah blah blah. I just shoot in FreeFrame mode because when you shoot in FreeFrame mode, as you can see, you can crop it either landscape or horizontal if you want to shoot vertical videos. But basically I read somewhere that shooting in this FreeFrame mode gets the full resolution of the sensor, gets the whole available sensor to be able to shoot, and so that's what I do. The next thing is to look at the field of view. So I usually use the Dewarp field of view, but you know, when you're shooting FreeFrame, it doesn't really matter. You can shoot mega, ultra, narrow, because in Insta360 Studio app on the desktop, you can adjust all of these things in post. So at this stage, this doesn't really matter, but for the purpose of what you're seeing on the screen, you may want to just choose the one that you think is best. Like I said, this can be viewed or adjusted in the Insta360 app or studio. These are other views, wide and so on, but I just shoot with Dewarp. Now the next thing is shooting settings. So I shoot auto. I do not apply any filter. There are several filters here. I just shoot auto. The EV exposure, it all depends. If it's really bright outside, I'll drop it, and if I'm indoors, I would increase it, but I just try to keep it around 0. If I'm shooting a vlog, I use the face metering, which affects the exposure and brightness distribution and favors exposing the face. And then I use matrix if I'm outdoors. So that's about metering. All of these settings all depends. So this is on jitter blur reduction. When it's on, it can reduce motion blur in scenarios such as walking with magnetic pendant or running and so on, because I'm always moving most times when I'm using this, but you can take it off if you're shooting stable shots. And then white balance, I try to control that manually. So if I'm indoors like this, I shoot, it all depends on the temperature outside or the settings, but generally I find that around 5,000 is fair. Between 4,000 and 5,000 is fair. If you're shooting under warm light, you may want to adjust that. And then sharpening, I keep it at the lowest possible level. I like to do my sharpening in post. That's basically it. I hardly shoot manual, to be honest. For devices like this, I just allow the camera to do most of the work. So that's my setting for shooting. So the other things I do, as you can see here, is that I keep the grid on, because that helps with framing and composition. And I also keep this horizon level indicator, I keep it on as well, so that, you know, I can see if my framing is balanced, my composition is balanced. So As you can see, there's a green line in the center there that shows that it's level. You can see the grid, of course, on the screen as well. That's basically it. All these other things don't really matter in terms of the quality of the footage. These are just things to improve your user experience. But for shooting video, I've shared with you what I think are the best. But let me know in the comments if there's anything that you do that gets you the best quality other than what I've shared with you here. So yeah, maybe in another video we can talk about all the settings. But this is basically it. So let's jump to importing some footage. I'll show you how I import footage into the computer, and I'll show you how I edit them. Getting the footage out of the camera is as simple as plugging a USB-C cable into the side, as you can see. And once you do that, you get this prompt, USB mode. So do you want to use the U-disk mode, which is like a USB mode to get the files from the camera into your computer, or you want to use it as a webcam? So in this case, we're going to click on this. And then there you go. So let's see what happens on the computer. Now I have the Insta360 Studio open. So basically, when you connect the camera to the app, I just come over here and click open files, and then I search for the GO 3S. This is it. And I sort by dates recorded. So I have here some footage I recorded this morning. Just some random footage. Let's start with this footage of me talking to the camera this morning. I'm going to import this footage of me getting a glass of water to drink, opening the tap and getting water into a cup. Now, one thing I've learned shooting with the Insta360 is that when you view the files directly from the folder, not within the app, it's going to look very unstable. Like it's almost as if the stabilization didn't work. But that's because you're just looking at the raw footage. By the time you import it into the Insta360 app, you'll see the difference. So I'm going to select this one, April 10th. I'm going to go all the way back and select footage I recorded this morning as well. I include all the files, so both the MP4 files and all the other metadata files, just because those files contain the information that the Insta360 app is going to use. Like, I don't know if I just import the videos, it will still work, but I just include everything just to be sure. So here we have the files from today. So this file is recorded in FreeFrame mode. You can see the 4:3 dimensions. If you're shooting with the GO 3S, when you review the footage on your computer, initially the footage might look unsteady or unstable. But once you import it into the Insta360 Studio app, it automatically applies flow state stabilization using all the other files, the raw data that was recorded in the camera. That helps to stabilize the footage. I find that this is better than trying to stabilize it in any other app like maybe CapCut or some other app. It's better to use the Insta360 app to do all this kind of processing or initial editing than doing it in a third-party app or another app. So I just wanted to drop that tip there, that if you used any Insta360 camera, at least do your initial processing in the Insta360 Studio software app. That will help to make sure that you're getting the best quality from the footage. What I do in app is really very simple. I don't really do much, to be honest. So let's start with this one. Now, if you notice the name filing system, when you're shooting in FreeFrame mode, it's recorded as Pro Vid. So I guess that means that this is like a more pro version of the footage that the camera can record. If you shoot, let's say 16:9 dimension normal framing for landscape, what you get is VID, just video. This is pro video, this is video. So that should tell you that when you shoot in FreeFrame mode, you're getting like the optimal quality, the best quality from that file. So in the Insta360 Studio app, you want to get to any file, you double click. So let's take this footage, for example, where I'm trying to fetch water from the sink. So when I come to stabilization type, it's already stabilized, flow state stabilization with horizon lock. There are other modes, that's advanced or standard. I usually just keep it on horizon lock because I like my videos to be level most times. And when it comes to media processing, as I said before, you can change the view. So here, see what happens when I click on ultra wide, mega wide, narrow, 45-degree horizon lock, 360-degree horizon lock. Now when I click on any of these zoomed in modes like the 360-degree horizon lock and 45-degree horizon lock, I notice that the image quality drops. So I don't use any of these. I don't use narrow. I just use Dewarp most times because Dewarp removes a lot of the distortion. Ultra wide, as you can see, there's more distortion if you look at this angle here. And mega view is also almost like Dewarp. Let's see. Yes, mega view probably has the largest field of view, but Dewarp kind of removes some of the distortion. Then I choose between color optimization and color plus for optimizing the color. When I click color plus, I notice that it kind of brightens the dark areas of the image and adds some saturation. This is good. Let's say I am shooting outdoors where it's really bright and I just want to optimize the color because the exposure looks good enough. But sometimes I feel like it makes the noise more visible. And so I don't use this often. What I usually use is clarity plus, because clarity makes the image clearer. And I think that counts for overall image quality. And if you notice, you can adjust the slider. So if I increase it, see the difference. So when it is very low, when it is minimized, it has less contrast. When you increase it, the contrast improves. So basically, I just keep it around 30 to 40. And this is what I usually apply. I usually don't tweak much of these settings because I just feel like when you edit an image or a video too much, it sort of diminishes the quality. The better you can get it in camera, the better the overall quality. But the more you have to edit in post, the more you run the risk of reducing image quality. So I don't really tweak this much, but I do. Maybe the highlights are too much, like here over by the window, you see the highlights are much. So I try to reduce the highlights a little bit. And then maybe bump the saturation a bit. Things like definition, if I want it to be sharper, clearer. So little tweaks. Mind you, the tip about editing, general rule to obey in editing, even in photo editing, is do the least you need to do. Don't overdo it. So this looks good to me. In this video, I'm not going to go into all the things around motion, ND, aqua vision, and all of those things. I'm just showing you what I usually do to get the best quality. I don't really do much on audio because I use an extra device to record audio. Of course, no watermarks. I don't do any of this. I check the information sometimes just to see what I'm working with. But here's the fun part. The fun part is in exporting. When I export, this is the dialog that comes up. I come to bitrate. Now, the bitrate, when you import it, default is 50. And we all know that the bitrate, the higher the bitrate, the higher the quality. So I just go all the way to the maximum. This is 200 megabytes per second, which I think is pretty impressive for a device like this. So I just push it all the way to the maximum. I don't change frame rates, formats, media type. And here you see the file is half a gigabyte. So that's about 592. And I just export. And I must tell you that exporting on the Insta360 Studio app, both in the mobile device and on the desktop, is pretty fast. You know, it's pretty fast compared to other software. And so this is what I do to optimize the footage from the files, from the videos I shoot with the Insta360 GO 3S. Let's do one more. Let's pick this one of me outside. Here, the same thing. Flow state stabilization is already applied. The exposure looks pretty okay. It doesn't look like I need to do much, but let's just go to color optimization. So if I click on color optimization, see what happens. To my own eye, I just feel like the image quality drops a little bit. I don't know, maybe I don't know how to explain it, but that's just how I feel. So I don't really do much of color plus, but I do clarity. So with clarity, I tweak as needed because I feel it's going to make the image clearer and sharper. If you notice, I've not even added any sharpening to the image. You can't really do that in the Insta360 Studio app. The best you can do is definition and clarity. I usually do that in the app I use to edit, which is CapCut most times. And so that's basically it. Now, let me show you one more thing that I didn't show you in the last one. You can change the frame. So here, I have the 16:9 resolution. If I want 9:16, this is it. Now, one of the limitations of this app is that you can't really adjust the scale or the position of the footage once you select a frame. So if you notice now, I can't shift myself to like to the middle or something. And the same thing with this, I can't choose. This is an update that I wish the Insta360 team would think about doing, whereby you can adjust the scale and dimensions of whatever it is you're shooting. But the most you can do is that once you shoot in FreeFrame mode, you can come here and adjust the dimensions, the ratio. So 16:9 most times. So basically that's it. And then here, I think I want it to be a little bit brighter, maybe reduce highlights a little bit, raise the shadows a little bit, that kind of a thing, increase the definition a little bit. So little tweaks like that. Then I export at the maximum 200 megabits per second or megabytes per second, and then I export. So Two things you can do with this kind of footage when you shoot in FreeFrame is that you get highest resolution possible that this camera can shoot in terms of maximizing the sensor output, if I should call it that. And then the second thing is that when you shoot in FreeFrame mode, you can adjust the ratio. So this is 16:9 and this is 9:16. So those are the settings I usually use. Let's import the footage that we exported from the Insta360 Studio app into CapCut. CapCut is the software I use most times for my editing. I would say 95% of the time. I also use Wondershare for Filmora, and sometimes I use Final Cut. I'll talk about my video editing software choices in probably another video, but if I want to keep it short, I'll just say that CapCut is really fast and user-friendly. Just makes the whole process easier without leaving or creating very large proxy files that clog up all the space on your system like Final Cut does. I don't know how they do it, but yeah, that's one of the reasons why I like CapCut, apart from the fact that it's just so easy to use. So let's import the file. So these are the files that I imported. Let's quickly check. Yep, I'm going to import these two files into CapCut. And let's start with this one. So if I bring it all the way here, if you remember this initial file, I didn't export it in 16:9 ratio. That's why it's showing up like this. But in CapCut, that's not a problem. All I just need to do is scale. Now, the difference between Insta360 Studio app and CapCut is that in Insta360 Studio app, like I was trying to explain before, once you set the ratio, there's no way to adjust what shows in the frame. It's just fixed. I complained to Insta360 about this. They said for now, there's no way to adjust that, and they'll probably take it into consideration as they produce further updates for the software. So if you want to be able to control that aspect, that part of the frame, then you need to export it as the 4:3 ratio and then bring it into CapCut and adjust as necessary, which I'm doing here. So this is it. And then, but for the other footage, if you look at this one I exported it in 16:9 ratio. So it's already kind of fixed. In CapCut, I'm just going to show you one or two things I do, and the most important thing I do is color grading. So I come to the adjustment layer and create a custom adjustment layer, drag that over the footage, and I have some favorites. So if I look through the inbuilt or imported lot, some of them came with CapCut, some of them I imported myself, but the ones I tend to usually use for my videos are the Stockholm Syndrome, teal and orange. I also use retro, dark forest vibes. There are several ones. You can go online and look for free lot files, or you can create some yourself. So basically, most recently, I think I use the retro, and then you can adjust the intensity. So slight adjustments here and there. I look at the sky sometimes just to be sure it's not too blue. And then I also look at the amount of yellows, because some of these have, this particular one has a lot of yellow in it. So I can always come here and adjust the yellow. Say I want to reduce the intensity of the yellow, or the saturation of the yellow, the brightness, and so on. Basically, that's what I do. Then maybe increase the clarity a little bit, just a little tweak, and then sharpening a little bit. And that's basically what I do. The other thing I do in CapCut, if I'm working with footage that has a face in it, is to come to the retouch panel, and I try to smoothen the skin a little bit, make the tone or complexion a little even, remove smile lines and dark circles as needed. Not too much, just little tweaks, just to make the skin look a bit better, so that I don't distract you guys with my rough middle-aged face. Yeah, so basically that's what I do. Let me show you what it looks like on and off. So this is without the color grade, this is with the color grade. Without the color grade, with the color grade. I think it looks better with the color grade. It looks more cinematic. So that's how I edit my footage from the Insta360 GO 3S. So in this video, I've been able to show you the settings that I tend to use when I'm shooting with the Insta360 GO 3S. I try to show you what I feel are the best settings to get the best quality. First of all, shoot in FreeFrame mode, because that is like the full sensor you're using, I think. You're getting the largest available frame canvas to record on. I also talked about the fact that if you're shooting with an Insta360 device, it's best to use the Insta360 Studio app either on desktop or mobile to at least import your footage, because when you do that, it automatically applies some processing to the files, namely flow state stabilization. It helps you automatically process stabilization. So even though when you first record and you put it into your computer and you look at it outside of the Insta360 Studio app, when you just click on the file and preview it, you'll see a lot of shaking, and you'd almost be tempted to think that the stabilization is not working. But when you import it into Insta360 Studio, it automatically applies flow state stabilization. And you can also change the field of view. So even if you shot it mega view or wide view or ultra wide view, within the 360 app, you can change the view to any of the field of view options that the Insta360 software provides. So you could do mega view, narrow view, and all of that. You can also apply some clarity. So there's clarity plus and there's color plus. Those are two tweaks that help to sort of improve the clarity and the quality of the image. You can adjust as needed because they have sliders. And this is what I do. Now, like I said, one of the limitations of the Insta360 Studio app or software is that even if you select the frame, the ratio, so if you shot in 4:3 and you want to select 16:9, once you select the 16:9, you can't shift the footage or the frame to control what part of the footage is showing in that 16:9 frame. One workaround is to export it as the 4:3, and when you bring it into a software like CapCut, you can now adjust. I showed you that in this video. Then in CapCut, I showed you what I do in terms of color grading, improving the quality of the image. So basically, I just apply a LUT as an adjustment layer, and I showed you the LUTs I frequently use and how I adjust it. I just adjust the intensity of that LUT, and then I increase the clarity slightly and increase the sharpness a little bit. And that's basically what I do. That's not all that I do, but I just showed you the basic things I do to get the quality looking good. And when I export from CapCut, of course, I try to export with very high quality, managing the file size. So that's what I do essentially. Let me know if you need me to explain any other points or show you some other post-processing, show you how I edit particular videos. Maybe I'll do a couple of more videos where I take you through my editing process as I edit videos. The last tip, as I said at the beginning of the video, I'm going to leave an additional tip or bonus for you if you're shooting with this kind of devices. You're shooting with the Insta360 GO 3S, any device as small as this, and by this size I mean this device, GoPros, DJI action cameras, and mobile phones. Very, very important. If you know you don't have enough light, don't bother shooting with it. That's the tip I'll give you. Except if you don't mind grainy footage, or if you're just focused on storytelling. So if you're focused on telling a story and you don't really think or prioritize image quality and you just want to deliver your story, then of course shoot any time, anyhow you want to shoot. I do that sometimes. So sometimes when I want a particular unique angle and I know I don't have enough light, ordinarily I wouldn't use the Insta360 GO 3S to shoot, or any other device that small, but sometimes I just do because I'm trying to tell a story. So the advice is that if you're shooting outdoors, no problem. You don't have to worry about anything, except if it's really cloudy and it's in the evening. Most times you're going to get good quality footage. But if you're shooting indoors, maybe you're trying to do a vlog, just try to get some additional light. So some examples of additional lights that I use, let me show you. Like this one, I got this long time ago, but it's a really awesome light. It's magnetic, has different modes, and yeah, it has a 1/4-inch screw hole that I can use to attach it to a tripod and so on. So these kind of lights, I have two of them actually. And then I got this one, this is Xeon. And sometimes just open a window. Sometimes I use the lights on my mobile phone. Bottom line, just try to shoot with some additional lighting. Even a little matters, even a little light matters, helps. Know that the camera this small has a very tiny sensor, and therefore you likely get grainy, low quality footage if you shoot in low light. That's the reason why you need to always think about lighting. Always think about lighting when you're shooting with these cameras. That's basically the additional tip I wanted to give. So yeah, brings me to the end of the video. It's kind of long. I hope I'll be able to edit it to make it short so you can watch this video real quick and get to shooting with your Insta360 GO 3S. Basically, the principles of this video apply to any device. Like I always say, if you know me and you watch this channel, the gear doesn't really matter. It's your ability to tell stories. It's your ability to make people feel something. It's your ability to add value through whatever creative endeavor you are involved in. I know a lot of my channel content speaks to people who are into filmmaking, making videos, but I think that the things I talk about also apply to you if you are a graphic designer or if you're a photographer. It's all about telling stories, all about making the best use of whatever it is you have. And that's what this channel is about. This channel is about helping you to be more, to do more, and to have more, both in terms of your creative endeavors and in life in general. So check out the other videos on the channel. If you like this particular video, drop a like, drop a comment, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video.